Paris, June 2023. The soccer world was about to witness its biggest shock. Lionel Messi was announcing his departure from Paris Saint-Germain after 2 years with the club. But this wasn't just any ordinary transfer. This was the result of the greatest disrespect ever shown to soccer's biggest legend. What PSG management did to Messi would become an unprecedented scandal in the sports world. And Messi's silent response to this situation would forever change the club's future. This story tells how the world's greatest soccer player was belittled and how his quiet revenge destroyed an entire club. August 2021. Messi's transfer to PSG was shaking the soccer world. The Argentine legend leaving Barcelona was starting a new chapter in Paris. PSG president Nasser Al-Khelaifi said back then, "Messi isn't just a player for us, he's a legend. We'll show him the respect he deserves." PSG fans welcomed Messi like royalty. Club stores were selling out of jerseys, stadiums were packed. Nobody doubted that PSG would win the Champions League with this transfer. Even though Messi's performance in the first games didn't meet expectations, the club was patient. Al-Khelaifi said, "We'll give Messi time to adapt." But gradually, different voices began to rise within the club. At the beginning of 2022, things started changing at PSG. After their elimination by Real Madrid in the Champions League, there was huge disappointment in management. According to sources within the club, Al-Khelaifi and the board were holding secret meetings. In these meetings, Messi's performance was being questioned. "Messi isn't what he used to be," said one board member. "We expected more from a player we're paying this much money." PSG's sporting director Leonardo was also complaining about Messi. He can't integrate with the team, can't build chemistry with the young players. When these criticisms started leaking to the media, Messi's situation at the club began to shake. But the Argentine star never reacted to this. He silently continued his training, doing his best in games. In mid-2022, secret plans were being made in PSG management. According to sources within the club, Al-Khelaifi was developing a strategy to push Messi out of the club. The plan was constantly criticize Messi's performance in the media, diminish his role in the team, and eventually make him want to leave on his own. "If we fire Messi directly, it'll be a huge scandal," Al-Khelaifi said in a secret meeting. "But if we force him to want to leave, it'll look like his own choice." As part of this plan, cuts were made to Messi's salary. His assigned seat on the team bus was changed. Training schedules were arranged to be inconvenient for him. The most painful part was this: PSG management started making belittling comments about Messi's family. They pressured Messi to change houses under the pretext that his family couldn't adapt to Paris. PSG management's campaign against Messi was reflected in the media too. French sports newspapers began targeting Messi with information they received from mysterious sources. Headlines like, "Messi is ruining the team chemistry" were being published. Articles saying the unwanted man at PSG were being written. L'Equipe newspaper wrote that Messi was left alone in the locker room. Le Parisien claimed that young players were uncomfortable with Messi. All these articles were based on false information leaked from PSG management. In reality, Messi had no problems with his teammates. Neymar, Mbappe, and other players had great respect for Messi. But the media campaign was having its effect. Even PSG fans were starting to doubt Messi. What was Messi doing during this time? Nothing. He silently continued his training, trying to protect his family. At the beginning of 2023, PSG management made their final move. Al-Khelaifi called Messi to his office and told him, "Leo, we see that you're not happy here. Maybe you'd be better at another club." These words were a huge shock for Messi. For 2 years, he had done everything for the club, hadn't been involved in any scandals, and silently did his job. Treating a player like this was unacceptable, but Messi didn't react again. He just said, "I understand," and left the room. Al-Khelaifi's next move was even more ruthless. Messi's contract renewal negotiations were sabotaged. The club presented Messi with unreasonable offers. The biggest insult was this: PSG management started asking Messi questions about his retirement plans. Treating a 35-year-old player who was still at his peak this way was a huge disrespect. What was Messi doing during this time? From the outside, everything seemed normal. He continued coming to training, playing in games, not making statements to the press. But sources close to him painted a different picture of Messi. Messi was secretly making his own plans. First, he secretly informed other clubs about his situation at PSG. Barcelona, Manchester City, Inter Miami, all declared they wanted Messi. Second, he prepared files documenting PSG management's dirty games, false information given to the media, contract violations, unethical behavior. Everything was on record. Third, he held secret meetings with his teammates. He showed them the true face of PSG management. Messi's plan was simple: leave silently and make PSG pay the price for their own mistakes. May 2023. Messi had now made his decision. He would leave PSG. But how he would do it was very important. Messi's lawyers began secret negotiations with Inter Miami. MLS's offer wasn't just financial. They promised Messi a new life in America, peace for his family, and respect for his career. During this time, PSG management thought Messi was staying. Al-Khalifi made statements to the media saying, "We're continuing negotiations with Messi." But Messi had already made his decision. June 7, 2023. Messi flew to Miami on a private jet. PSG management thought this was just a vacation. June 8, 2023, morning hours. Inter Miami announced Messi's transfer. PSG management was in shock. They had no idea about anything. Messi's transfer to Inter Miami shook the soccer world. But the real shock was just beginning for PSG. Hours after the transfer was announced, what Messi experienced during his final period at PSG leaked to the media. The disrespect PSG management showed Messi, media manipulations, contract games, everything came out. PSG fans rose up. Al-Khalifi resigned chants spread to the streets. In club stores, Messi jerseys started being burned. Worse yet, star players like Neymar and Mbappe also sided with Messi. They made statements saying, "What was done to Messi is unacceptable." PSG's sponsors also reacted. Nike, Jordan, Qatar Airways, all announced they would freeze their negotiations with club management. The biggest blow came from UEFA. PSG's financial fair play violations were reopened for investigation. The months following Messi's departure were a nightmare for PSG. First came Al-Khalifi's resignation. Then the sporting director and technical director changed. The club's entire structure was turned upside down. Things also got worse on the field. PSG had a terrible start to the 2023-24 season. Team chemistry was broken, players were unmotivated. They were eliminated in the Champions League group stage. They were even struggling in League One. The most painful thing was losing fan support. Parc des Princes Stadium started to remain empty. PSG without Messi slogans were written on walls. Financially, the club was also collapsing. Sponsorship revenues dropped by 40%. TV rights lost value. PSG was no longer the old PSG. Meanwhile, in Miami, Messi was quietly building his new life. With Inter Miami, he was turning MLS upside down, winning the League's Cup, creating soccer madness in America. He never criticized PSG in any interview. He never badmouthed his former club in any statement. He just silently played his soccer, speaking through his achievements. This was Messi's greatest revenge. Without making noise, without creating drama, he had taught everyone a lesson just through his talent and character. PSG management hadn't just lost soccer history's greatest legend, they had also destroyed the club's future. This is how real kings get revenge, silently with dignity and forever.